Right, hello. On this, I'm going to take you through the first part of the summer programming, and this is going to be a bouncing ball. Right, so what you need is a Windows Form application, .NET framework loaded up, and a form here. Now I've renamed the form, which is easy to do in 2019, not so much in 2017. You right click on it, rename. Be careful because it needs to also, in program CS, it also needs to update the form it loads up. All right, so if you do go and rename the form and it doesn't change that as well, then you need to do it manually. Depends on the version of Visual Studio. Right, let's make a start. So just first off, just run the form to make sure it works. Right, okay, we're good to go then. Now what we're going to do is have a ball that bounces around the screen. So in order to do that, let's put some code on. So I'm going to double click and that will give me the form load event. And there we go there. And I'm going to declare two global variables, okay, and they're going to be vector, get out of the way, vect2 and location. Now a vector2 is a vector that has an x and a y. That's all it is. There's a vector3 as well, and now you'll notice that doesn't like that because I haven't used, I'm not using system.numeric, so I need to actually use that. And there we go, system, using system numerics, and should do the job. There we go. All right, so that's the one there that we need. All right, okay, so that's the nice thing, it will do that for you if you haven't done so already. Right, so vector2 again, and this time is going to be velocity. So we're just going to do some really simple vector maths on this to move this thing around. New vector2. Okay, and there we go. So we have a location and a velocity. Right, so on the form load, we need to set things up ready to go. So I'm going to say, well, where's my location going to be? So location dot, and I've got x. X is a property, so that's its x coordinate if you like. And I'm going to say equals this dot width. So that's the width of the form divided by 2. And then I'm going to say location dot y equals this dot height. So it doesn't matter what size the form is, divided by 2. Okay. Now I'm going to set up my velocity. So velocity again is a vector. So we're using like location, like a coordinate really, but you know it works. So dot x, and that equals 1, and velocity dot y equals 4. Okay, so what that's going to be doing then is going to be moving us in a downwards direction, more down than along. All right, so let's have a look. So I've got this around the wrong way, so let's quickly erase that. All right, so I've got my location there in the middle of the screen, so I'm going along 1, down 4, and then that should move us along from there to there, and it will continue to move us along like that. Okay, so we set up that. Now there's a couple of other things we want to set up. Now we need a, I'll just type this in because I'll show you what happens if you don't have it. Equals true. You'll see the difference. Just don't worry about that for now. This double buffer equals true. Let's get that. And right, the next one is we're going to declare a timer. Now we could do timers via the Windows Forms and Designer, but you don't need to. So just call it new timer 1, new timer, and there we go. So we have a timer. Now we're going to set up our interval. So timer.interval, and that's going to equal 10. And I'm going to then do this. Now this one here is where we set up the event method. So timer.tick. There it goes. It knew what I was wanting to do there. Then you do plus equals, all right, and then press tab, and it automatically adds that in. Okay. So if I scroll down now, there is the event method. So it automatically did that for me. So that's basically how you do it in code. Whoops, an error there. Right, so timer interval equals 10. So that created the event method, and then I've just got to enable it. So timer dot enabled equals true. Okay, so that enables my timer. Right. Now, generally speaking, most of the time you want to run code on a form in what's called the paint event. All right. Now let's put this back in design view. Click on there, and then find the paint. So to do that, we need to click on events and make sure it's alphabetical, and then we're looking for on paint. Well, paint. There it is there. Right, it's not on paint, it's just paint. Right, so when you get to there, just press enter, and it created the method here. Now this fires automatically when something changes on a form. You move it, resize it, or whatever. But you can also call it. All right. And now we need it because it's got these paint of arguments here that we can use graphics for. All right. So on our timer tick, it's not particularly obvious, but the way to call that is with the command invalidate. Okay. Right. So that means every timer tick we're going to be calling this paint method. Okay. So let's just draw a circle first, just to make sure that we can do that. Okay. So I'm going to say, right, E dot. Now E is the argument that was sent in, dot graphics. It knows that I'm going to do that. Dot fill ellipse. Could do anything I like. Now it wants a brush, so we say brushes dot. I'm going to have blue violet. Looks nice. And I'm just going to say location dot x, and the y is location dot y, and then we give it a size, so 120 by 120. Okay, right, that's done. Just need a semicolon there. Right, so what we've done there then is specified an ellipse. So e.graphics, fill ellipse. We specified a brush. That's going to basically be our what we're going to be filling in with blue violet. We've got an X and Y location, and then 120 by 120. So it's a circle. Right. So the first thing we want to do is just check to make sure that it actually does that. And it's not the quickest. Maybe if I plug it in, it might speed up a bit. Right, there we go. So if I make that, there we go. Obviously, it was no, it's not quite. I think the it's because I'm running it on the scaling slightly out. Well, it is out on my Surface Pro because you have to do that. That's the reason why it doesn't look quite right on there. But anyway, it should have been centered on the actual form there. right? But I'd have to do it on a normal desktop to get it to work. But anyway, it's drawn an ellipse, and it kept on doing that lots of times. All right. So how do we get it to move then? Well, all we need to do then is in here, so my location equals location plus velocity. All right. So all we're doing is saying our current location equals our new location equals our current location plus the velocity that we set up here. All right. So let's see what happens. Now I could fill the screen, that might make it a bit better, but make it full screen, but we'll see. Now you can see it shifted off the screen there, and then it. So now if I can remember how to get it so it falls the screen, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Now, so let's. So basically, what your job is then is to get it to bounce when it hits the edge of the screen. Okay. Now, what you're going to need is an if statement. Whoops, not there. There. Now, what we can do is slow it down a bit so we can actually see it working. So let's just make that 100 rather than 10, and then at least we should see it move. There it goes. Woo. Okay. Now what it's supposed to do, what we're going to do, when it bounces, when it hits the edge of the screen, it wants to bounce up, and then so forth. So what we need is an if statement here. Okay. Now, so you have got to determine when we fall, when the X location is either less than the actual left-hand edge and it's greater than the right-hand edge, and also with the Y location is less than the top and greater than the bottom. Now remember, okay, this is 0, 0 here, and it's going up like that. So that's the way the form coordinates work. Okay, so that's your task then, to get that ball bouncing around the screen. Now it's actually not that difficult to do, so it should look like it's like a tennis ball. So when it hits that edge, it should bounce up there and then like that, and then okay, right. Okay, so that's your first task.